Hey everyone, Brendan Snyder here. How are you? Thanks so much for joining me and welcome to another episode of Music News Roundup number 236. So this is where I like to corral and bring together all the best news from the past week into one place, making it easy for y'all to digest. Today is Friday, November 1st of 2024. Happy All Saints Day, the day after Halloween. We got a lot of cool stuff here to cover. Music news on or related to Guns N' Roses, Alice Cooper, Enough's Enough, Primus, Slayer, Exodus, Sabotage, and As I Lay Dying. There is so much to get through here. We're going to dive into it in just a bit. But before we start, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do. Also, leave a comment, hit like. All those things help support my channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, if you turn on notifications, you're going to stay up to date on really cool episodes just like this with Music News Roundup number 236. All right, so let's kick things off here. And we got a bunch of rockers quitting bands. It was just like maddening this past week. So first one up, alternative rock band Primus have announced the immediate departure of their longtime drummer Tim Alexander, who started with the band, left for a while, came back. But this here was a complete shock to the band. Apparently, they received the notice via email, wasn't even told to them in person. After failed attempts to follow up with him and really get to the root of why he was, sending this email, doing this, he just simply said he's lost his passion for playing. The band says they respect that, and if he wants to back out, that's fine, but they're just really shocked by it. Their upcoming live performances are going to be filled by Danny Carey of Tool joining them, who apparently has done that for them in the past. So nothing new there, but that would be kind of a cool thing. You don't get to see Tim, but you get to see Danny behind your drum kit. After which, apparently, they will then look for a true formal replacement to Tim. So kind of crazy about that. Now, someone else who just quit, guitarist Phil Grasso, has just quit As I Lay Dying. And this comes 6 months after the drummer, Nick Pierce, quit, and then along with him, Ken Sussey. So now this announcement is 12 days after bassist and vocalist Ryan Neff has quit. So it's like, man, they're just dropping like flies over there. According to Phil, though, he says the band no longer offers a healthy, safe environment. Whatever that means. That's new speak today for you don't like what's going on, I guess. But he feels that his interests are best served to distance himself from that both creatively and professionally. Hey man, whatever he feels, that's fine. But he says he also supports Nick, Ken, and Ryan for doing the same. I say all four of those guys go off and form another band and, get yourself a new singer and keyboardist, because the only guy that is left at this point is Tim Lambis. So who knows what's going to happen with As I Lay Dying, whether they will even continue replacing all those various members. And I'd really kind of like to know what is going on behind the scenes that you have four guys quit over the last 6 months, including Phil Grasso just quit, who had been with the band for 21 years. So I think a bunch of shocks are going around right now between everyone who's leaving and whatnot. And then we got another guitar player that has left his band, and I'm talking about Troy Steffengren from Enough's Enough, has just parted ways after 16 years with the band. Now, apparently no ill will or bad blood or anything of the nature. He's just looking for new musical adventures, but another shakeup. This one in the glam world with Enough's Enough, but you got the alternative rock, you got the hard metalcore people with As I Lay Dying, and you got the glam metal people, and I guess we're all scratching our heads wondering why. But, this is the nature of things. I see it more and more today than it ever was back in the original heyday of a lot of these bands. It's just, these guys have to find different ways to make money and stay on top of things, and life gets complicated when you get older, and all those sort of things, I'm sure, come into play with why these guys are leaving. Moving on to a different topic here, we got an update from the ongoing saga where former Ozzy Osbourne guitarist Jakey Lee, who got shot recently while he was out walking his dog. Apparently he tried to stop some people or question some people that were breaking into, I don't know if it was a car or what it was. And they didn't like that, so they shot him. And I think it was something crazy like 15 times. But anyways, the point being, Jakey Lee is at home. He's on the mend. There have been no complications to the surgeries and everything done to, save him. And that's all really good news. It is absolutely crazy that he only got hit. He didn't get shot. I think they shot at him 15 times. I want to clarify that. I think he only got hit 3 times, but still, no major organs, anything like that. So really glad to hear that Jakey Lee is on the mend. Then moving on to some actual music news here. Once again, GNR bassist Duff McKagan has said in an interview that the whole band, along with Axl Rose, have been working on brand new material, not going in and recording old stuff from sessions of Chinese Democracy or something of that nature, but actual new material. And that there is a desire and a plan in place to release new material. And I think for me, that's the big key, hearing that there is a plan in place. It's one thing to go into the studio and record and then nothing happens with it for a year. But if they've got a plan in place, and they haven't toured since November of 2023, so it's been a full year since the band has played live. And I'm hoping that if there is a plan in place, perhaps before they go back on the road, it would be releasing an album. So hopefully this last year's been very productive for them. Maybe they've gotten a lot accomplished. We don't really know. They've always been very secretive about that sort of stuff, but I would love to see a brand new album before they tour. Again, we'll have to wait and see. But I am feeling very optimistic after twice now Duff has talked about this recently, and so has Slash. So apparently a lot going on behind the scenes in the world of Guns N' Roses, and you never know, one day an album might just drop. All right, in related news though, Duff has also said that he probably has about 3 albums worth of new solo material ready to go, and hopefully we're going to see that sometime in the new year as well. I'm quite sure the reason that Slash is in the studio with Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators, Duff saying he's got 3 albums worth of material, and I bet if we talk to the rest of the guys in Guns N' Roses, they would say the same thing, because I'm sure it's all stuff they put forward for a new Guns N' Roses album that got rejected for one reason or another, so they're going to go over here and make that. But it kind of just goes to show you what it takes to create an album, that if Duff has 3 albums worth of stuff, how much did he actually give over to the band versus what he kept for himself? But it just shows you the stuff they're churning out and everything. Very cool. I'm up for it. I know a lot of you guys could care less about a new GNR album, but I will take it no matter what, and I always have high hopes for where a band can go, even if we haven't liked their previous stuff. Case in point, Motley Crue, right? I'd love to hear an entire album and get a feel for an album instead of a couple tracks at a time. So that's what I'm looking for with GNR as well. Moving into some concert news, lots of tours are getting announced for 2025. They're starting early this year. ZZ Top has announced the Elevation Tour that kicks off in March, runs through April. Then, if that's not enough, Billy Gibbons has announced his own solo 25-date tour. Alice Cooper has the Too Close for Comfort tour that he just announced. That's on the East Coast of the U.S. And Tool keep announcing additional dates for their Mexican tour. Ghost have announced a world tour, 53 dates so far. Hopefully this means that a new album is getting ready to be released. We know they were working on it. They've had a lot of time off over the last year. We managed to get an EP of covers. We got a live album. We got the movie, all that great stuff. So now that they've announced a 53-date world tour, I'm certainly hoping that means we're getting a brand new album. And then according to Pete Townsend, The Who will return and play live in 2025. Probably no new music, but he says they will return. All right, and then metal legends Savatage have been confirmed for the Monsters of Rock in San Paulo for April 19th of 2025. The lineup announced for this is pretty much the last lineup that they had. Zach Stevens on vocals, Chris Cafferty on guitar, Al Pitrelli on guitar, Johnny Lee Middleton on bass, and Jeff Plate on drums. Now, out of all those guys there, I believe Johnny Lee Middleton, the bassist, is the only original guy left. I'd have to go back and check, see if he's actually on the first couple, but I know he's the longest serving guy there, and I believe been in all the different lineups as well. Next in line would be Chris Caffery on guitar, followed by Zach Stevens, then Al Petrelli, and then Jeff Plate. And I could be wrong, a little bit wrong, and I apologize if I am, but I believe that is the order. Now, no mention of original vocalist and founding member John Oliva partaking in it, and we all know that he's had a lot of health issues, and he's been battling substance abuse and things of that nature. And then, unfortunately, this past week, news has come out that John has been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and so that's really unfortunate. I would love to, for him to be well enough and for 5 months time to go make one last appearance with the band, because unfortunately multiple sclerosis is something you do not recover from. So my thoughts and prayers are certainly with him while he is dealing with and having received this very unfortunate news. All right, thrash metal legend Slayer have been announced as one of the performers at the Louder Than Life Festival for 2025. It takes place September 19th through 21st. And what I think is worth noting about all this, it's great that they've come back. This will be the 4th live show that they've done since announcing it earlier this year that they were reuniting. But at that time, when they announced those 3 shows, they said, look, this is not going to be a yearly thing. You are not going to see us turning up at all the festivals every year. We're going to do this, and then we'll probably disappear for 5 years and then come back. Well, here they are in September of 2025. Yeah, a year away, but they have already announced that they are making shows for next year. So I don't know what's going on, and more power to them, but I just really hate it when bands come out and try to kind of take the high road and we're just doing a few one-off shows to then turn right around and do something the following year, especially for those people that fly in from all over the world to see something because they think that might be the last time to see the band. They're not going to do it for 5 years, whatever, right? And then, we're going to play some more shows. All right, anyways, enough ranting on that, right? New songs out today. Exodus, Beating Around the Bush, the AC/DC cover song. Apparently they recorded this back during their last album, Persona Non Grata. While they were in the studio, they recorded some covers. They mentioned more than one. Maybe we'll see something else. Now, interestingly, Exodus is currently in the studio recording a brand new album, so I don't really know why we're not getting something new from this session meeting. It doesn't have to be a new studio track, but surprised that they've gone back to release something from the previous sessions as opposed to, hey, we're in the studio fooling around and here's a cover song that we're noodling on right now. Either way, very cool to get it. I love when Exodus does cover songs. I always think they sound pretty killer, thrashed up the way that they do. And then moving into album release schedule, 4 new ones to talk about here. Alice Cooper, Muscle of Love, a 3-disc deluxe edition. Disc 1 has the original album remastered. Disc 2 features 11 previously unreleased tracks, different mixes, early takes, different versions, that sort of stuff. Disc 3 is a Blu-ray with quadraphonic mixes on it, and the physical edition is only available through Rhino Records. I did not see an actual release date, but it is available now for order. The digital version is going to drop on November 20th. Okay, January 10th, Magnum, live at KK Steel Mill, live show featuring guitarist Tony Clarkin, who unfortunately passed away on January 7th of 2024 earlier this year. It was very sad and unexpected. The album will be available as a 2 CD set and as a 3 LP box. And then on January 24th, Iggy Pop live at Montreux Jazz Festival 2023, first in a series of new releases for the festival. These are going to be put out by Ear Music, so look for other artists that have played there. I don't know if they're just doing the 2023 or they're going to do a whole bunch outside of that, but this was the first in a new series that will be coming out. And the show was recorded as part of the 57th edition of the Jazz Festival. I can't believe it's been going on that long, but crazy that they continue to call it the Jazz Festival and or book artists that are completely not jazz. Now, hey, if Iggy went and did one of his jazz albums, because he's got at least 2, he might even have more, but he's got at least 2 of them, I'd be fine with that. But Deep Purple has played the Jazz Festival. Yes has played the Jazz Festival. I'm sure lots of other bands, but all these non-jazz bands. Yes, they have jazz incorporated, but they're not jazz bands. So anyways, he's running through a 17-song set that I do know includes Stooges material and other stuff from his latest album. Okay, Swedish hard rock band Helicopters have Overdriver dropping on January 31st, their ninth studio album, and follow up to their reunion album, Eyes of Oblivion, that came out in 2022. So just under 3 years, we're getting a brand new one. I can't wait for that. I was not a fan of the band prior to Eyes of Oblivion. I became a fan of them through Nikki Alexander, who is a frontman and guitar player for Helicopters, but I became a fan of him through Lucifer, where he is the drummer and the songwriter. And so Anthony recommended to me Eyes of Oblivion, and I fell in love with that band, and now I want to get my hands on everything. And so they've already dropped 2 new songs. Don't know if they're going to appear on the album, but they did drop 2 new songs that were absolutely killer just to tide us over. And so I've got high hopes for this. The cool thing is, with the release of this album, it's also the 30th anniversary of the band in 2025. So what a great way to celebrate the anniversary with brand new music, their 9th studio album. Like I said before, I absolutely love it when bands celebrate anniversaries and special events with new music. Don't give me a best of or a compilation or a live album or any of that or any archival stuff. Just give me some new material, right? The Rolling Stones, man, celebrating 60th anniversary, put out their first new album in like a couple decades. So other bands doing that, I love it. Helicopters, that's one of them. All right, and as we start to close things out here, in some sad news, Grateful Dead bassist and founding member Phil Lesh passed away at 84. He spent over 30 years with the Grateful Dead, but he was also in his own group, or had his own group, Phil Lesh and Friends. So I know a lot of you guys, even when he wasn't in the Dead, he was out doing that, keeping the torch going, you know, for the Grateful Dead and whatnot. And he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1994 as a member of the Grateful Dead. And outside of that, as I mentioned, with Phil Lesh and Friends, he released a number of albums with them. Rest in peace, Phil. You will be missed, but not forgotten. Okay, and new albums released today, November 1st. There are 2 to touch on. List of stuff I'm interested in. Hopefully I will find a bunch more stuff for you guys when I put together the What Just Dropped series, which posts tomorrow on Saturday. But I got to go through all the different releases and things and see what else came out right now. I'm only aware of these 2, so I'm kind of hoping that tomorrow's episode gets fleshed out with a bunch more stuff. But I got my work cut out for me, and hopefully I'll be able to pull it off for you guys. But the big main one, The Cure, Songs of a Lost World, the 14th studio album, and first new album in 16 years. 2008's 413 Dream was their last album. They did drop 2 new songs as part of the live album Curation in 2019. It Can Never Be the Same and Step Into the Light. Those 2 songs do not appear on the new Cure album. So both cool and sad at the same time. I like those songs. I'm going to get into this in a review on the album, which I do plan to do, so I'm not going to get into it all now, but I've got some issues with it, and I've got some stuff I love about it. I'll break all that down. Keep an eye out, probably posting on Sunday a review for this new Cure album, which is only 8 songs. Okay, the other thing is alternative rock band Weezer, the Blue Album 1994, a deluxe edition box set, 30th anniversary it's celebrating. You get the album itself remastered plus 6 live tracks, and disc 2 and 3 feature 35 previously unreleased demos, and that's released by Geffen Records. So there you go. That is Music News Roundup number 236. Do check back every Friday for brand new episodes where I try to corral and bring together all the best news for you guys, keeping you guys up to date on everything. And hopefully you appreciate some of my rants and commentary and things that go along with it. I try to bring my personality to everything that I do for you guys here. So it isn't just a straight run through the news as stuff that you've already probably read during the week, but I try to give you a little spin on it. And some of this stuff too, it's like with the news on Sabotage and John Oliva. The announcement of the Sabotage Live and John Oliva having multiple sclerosis came as two different news stories. I try to bring all that stuff together as things develop through the week. I can bring you more and more and more info and pack it all together. But anyway, that's sort of what I'm trying to do here. Hope you guys enjoy it. Take care. I'm going to talk to you real soon, and definitely check out all the other cool things happening on my channel here when you get a chance. All right, everyone. Bye now.